All right, what is going on, guys? Happy hump day. We are live to talk about some NBA. We have 9 game slate now instead of 10. And of course, the game that gets postponed is the game that I wanted the most exposure to. I had like 4 or 5 players I really wanted to get in there with, Ja and Tillman and Clark and Lillard and Cantor. I was debating this full stack in that game and, had to redo everything because that was huge. We had the top value play on the slate and Tillman in that game. So definitely changed a lot with that game being postponed. But let's take a look at what we know so far here. So Seth Curry ruled out, still not up to par on conditioning. Evan Fournier is available to play. Not huge news. Let's see. But he was out for a while. Some of the stuff was for Friday. And Blazers, Grizzlies postponed. Not super happy about that one. Let's see. Austin Rivers, doubtful. Again, that's Thursday. Jeremy Lamb will be available. We haven't heard anything of a minutes limit yet. So we'll see about that. Sexton, Garland, game time decisions. They both went through shoot around. I expect both to play. Now, some actually decently big news here. DeAndre Hunter now doubtful. We already have, or Cam Reddish doubtful too. So did Draftkings know with the Kevin Huerter price, right? Did they know? No, he's still out of play, but could make, whoever starts for Hunter definitely viable. I expect the starting lineup to be Trae Young with the 2 bigs and Collins, Capella, and Huerter, and then maybe Solomon Hill, right? So I guess it could be Solomon Hill season for value tonight. That really kind of makes me want to throw up, but yeah, there's not, like with no more Tillman, there's not a lot of standout value in my opinion. Hardaway available to play. Kemba will still be limited. Doesn't do a ton for me. Kyrie will start. Robert Williams will play limited to 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, that's kind of what I expected him to play anyway, so not a huge deal, to be honest. But yeah, let's what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Welcome. You're happy that game got scratched? I'm not. I know it was gonna be popular, but I was getting a lot of exposure to it. I mean, yeah, I'd rebuild. I'm still feel decent about the lineup I have right now, but all right, let's take a look at the news so far, guys. We have not the news, the Vegas totals. We have Celtics and 76ers, a 221.5 over under. The 76ers are 5-point favorites. Nets and Cavs, a 226 over under. Nets are currently 11.5-point favorites with all 3 of the studs there and playing. Mavs and Pacers, a 220 over under. The Mavs are 2.5-point favorites. Pistons and Hawks is a 220.5 over under. The Hawks are 4.5-point favorites. Heat and Raptors are 222 over under. The Raptors are 4-point favorites. We're still waiting on Tyler Hero news. Actually is pretty big, right? Because if Hero misses, propels Dragic and Bam and Adebayo to be pretty solid plays, and then it makes Kendrick Nunn a decent value play. So that is pretty big news. Magic and T-Wolves a 219 over under. Thought this one would be higher. I did. Magic are 4-point favorites. If I was a betting man, I think I would take the over in that game. Suns Rockets a 219.5 over under. The Suns are 5.5-point favorites. Kings Clippers a 230.5 over under. The Clippers are 10-point favorites. And then Spurs Warriors a 228 over under. The Warriors are 1-point favorites. And that is what we got for the main slate. All right, so let's start with Brooklyn and Cleveland. On the Brooklyn side, for me personally, I'm going to avoid these guys, just because I'm going to take a wait and see approach here to see if all 3 can get it. See if all 3 can pay off value. They might be able to. Cleveland does play at a slower pace. Not super worried about the matchup. If I had to pick someone, it would be Kyrie at 9K because he's the cheapest of the bunch. But there's not a ton of stand-up value. So for me, I'm probably just going to avoid these guys, take a wait and see approach. DeAndre Jordan, I mean, who knows how many minutes he's going to play. Plays 28 and 23 minutes, and then is out of nowhere 38 minutes. I don't think he gets 38 again. Cleveland is a bigger team, but if I had to guess, I would say like high 20s minutes for DeAndre Jordan, just making him a secondary play at that price. I'm not playing Joe Harris, and the value is just kind of out of play with the 3 Brooklyn guys being healthy. Moving on to the Cavs. Make this really quick. There's no way I'm playing Drummond at that price with Jarrett Allen back. Sexton Garland look like they're going to be back. Takes the value out of play. I have no interest. in anyone on this team. Just easy fade and move on. So Dallas, Luka Doncic at 10-7, I think, is one of the better spend ups of the slate. There's no more Damian Lillard, so I think Luka is a pretty safe spend up. Now, right? He had a bad game last game. Not super worried about it. He's a guy that can break the slate, right? If you're fading Luka, it's always scary fading Luka, at least when you know he's gonna be decently popular. So like, yeah, I think Luka is one of the better spend ups below 11K. Just has a pretty high floor. I know only went for 35 last game, but normally he's a guy that can get you 50 plus. Even in not really the best spot, I think Luka is still one of the better spend ups in the slate. I also have interest in Porzingis at 7.9. Like the price for him. Was on pace for about 35 minutes so that game did not blow out. So if we're going to get normal minutes out of Kristaps Porzingis, then I really like him in the mid-range. I think, balance build might be a little bit safer tonight. So Kristaps is definitely one of those guys I'm looking to in this range. I do like him a good amount. Hardaway's back. That's too pricey for me. Willie Cauley-Stein a little too pricey. I'm not paying that price for Trey Burke. I think you make an argument for James Johnson. Should play mid-20s minutes, been a decent point per minute guy. Not a ton of value, so I think he's an okay value play. Brunson, if he starts again, I think is fine. Played 27 minutes last game, so he could be potential value. But that's really it for me on Dallas side. So let's move on to the Pacers. Pacers, it's Sabonis and Brogdon for me. Looking like Miles Turner and Jeremy Lamb will play. So kind of takes the value out of play. Now, Jeremy Lamb at 3.9. Haven't heard of anything of a minutes limit, but I don't think he's going to play a ton. If he plays and there's no limitations, then he's actually one of the best value plays in the slate. But I don't think he's going to get a ton of minutes, so I'll probably pass unless we get some sort of news that he's full go. Now, Sabonis and Brogdon, I think, are safe plays. Even in a bad matchup, Dallas is been one of the better defensive teams. I think they're just safe plays because of minutes. Sabonis should play high 30s minutes, same with Brogdon. So I think both are safe options. Again, the value kind of out of play now with Lamb back. Looking like Miles Turner will be back. If Miles Turner misses, you could take a shot on a guy like Doug McDermott, but very reliant on the scoring. So really value-wise for the Pacers, I don't have a ton of interest with Jeremy Lamb now back. Colin Sexton available to play. Okay, thanks for that. Let's move on to Boston and Philly. I guess real quick before we do, guys, if you do enjoy this content, if you could leave a like button and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. It does help me out a ton. That would be greatly appreciated. Let's try to aim for 100 likes on this live stream. We'll be live for a good 35 more minutes because we have a big slate. So would appreciate if you guys do enjoy to hit that like button. All right, let's move on to Boston and Philly. I guess real quick, let's refresh this, checking fantasy labs to make sure we're all up to date. Oh, no, now DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish are game time decisions. Oh, remain doubtful. Okay. Never mind. Tyler Hero ruled out. All right. So that is actually pretty big news. Tyler Hero ruled out. Trae Young available to play. Miles Turner going through extensive pregame warm-up. Okay. That's pretty detailed. Jarrett Allen, Taurean Prince available to make Cavs debut. That's why I'm kind of off Drummond. Okay. So Hero being ruled out. We'll get to Miami, but that does make me feel pretty confident about some of those Miami guys now. All right, so we are on Boston and Philly. Not a game I love, to be honest. Kemba Walker playing and limited, so takes him out of play. Also takes those value guards like Pritchard and Jeff Teague out of play. Jaylen Brown at 8.7 is someone you could look to at the top. I don't love the spot. I prefer other guys in this price range and better matchups. So Brown, more of a secondary spend up for me. I'm not paying that price for Marcus Smart. Tice and Thompson are priced up. Robert Williams is going to play 10 to 15 minutes. I mean, you can still take a dart at him in GPPs because there's not a ton of value. But, yeah, don't really like anything on Boston. On the Philly side, honestly, not a lot I like either. Joel Embiid at 9.6 is always in play for GPPs. Is always in play, right? He can get you 40, 50, 60 plus. But just not someone I'm really prioritizing on the slate. I'm not going to Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris after they got priced up with no Embiid. Seth Curry is still out. Shake Milton at 5.6 I think that's a decent play in the mid-range. But with Embiid back, he will take a step back usage-wise. I know he's had good shooting games. I think, again, fine. I would not expect 40, 50 fantasy points again from Shake. So not saying he's out of play, but not a priority for me. I'm not playing Dwight. I'm not playing Danny Green. Really do hate Danny Green. Not going to lie. And that's it. That's it for Philly. So Detroit, Atlanta. Really, on the Detroit side, there's two pieces that I'm interested in. Jeremy Grant at 7.7, I think makes for one of the better plays in this kind of 7-8K range is the sweet spot tonight, in my opinion. There's a lot of good plays. I would say 8 to 10 plays that I really like in this range. Jeremy Grant's one of them. He's been their best player, and it's not been close. He's getting huge minutes, getting a ton of shot attempts, rebounding the ball well, getting some assists. He can get you some blocks and steals. I think he's firmly in play in a really good matchup here. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested in Jeremy Grant at that price. Blake Griffin is washed. I'm not playing Blake. Derrick Rose at 5'4", on the other hand, a little wash, but he's still good. Played 27 minutes the last game. So minutes haven't been great for him recently, but if he's going to play mid to high 20s minutes in this matchup, I think he is actually a pretty solid play kind of in the 5K range. Aggressive player, high usage guy off the bench. So I do have some interest there in Derrick Rose at that price. Plumlee, the minutes have been all over the place on him. You can take a shot on him, but don't really feel comfortable at the minutes. DeLon Wright's minutes will go down, D Rose back. Josh Jackson, if I had to pick one of these value guys, it would be him. Decent offensive player. Hasn't really got it done recently. And again, they just use too many guys. They use too many guys on the bench for me to feel comfortable with any of the Detroit value. Let's move on to Atlanta. Kevin Huerter 9.5, right? No, not playing Kevin Huerter even with Hunter and Reddish out. Trae Young, I think, is a good GBP play at 9.3. Good matchup here. Should get mid-30s minutes. Does have a ton of upside. So like him in GPPs. Capella versus Collins, to be honest, I'm going to give the edge to Capella. And it's just a minutes thing, right? 37 and 39 minutes for Capella compared to 31, 36 minutes for John Collins. And John Collins is actually just taking a back seat to Capella. So for me, it is Clint Capella over John Collins. Now, pretty big news here. Hunter and Reddish doubtful. There's still no Gallinari. There's still no Bogdanovich. I'm curious to see what they do with the starting lineup. If Solomon Hill starts at 3-1, I know. I'm not excited about this, but if he starts, I would say he probably plays at least 25 minutes and then becomes actually one of the better value plays. Not a high usage guy, but I think we would have to consider him for value. I would rather play Solomon Hill than Tony Snell. But both are kind of similar players, low usage guys. They both should get more run with Hunter and Reddish out. So we'll have to keep an eye on that starting lineup news for the Hawks. I would guess it's going to be Solomon Hill, but we'll see. Okay, so let's move on to Miami and Toronto. Now with that news that Tyler Hero is out, I'm pretty high on Goran Dragic at 5'7". He started last game and played 33 minutes. And just to be honest, he's had his floor games in both these games without Hero and Jimmy Butler. 29 and 31 is the floor, in my opinion, for Goran Dragic with those two out. So sure, the matchup's not great, but he's a high usage guy. Offense is going to be pick and roll with him and Bam. I actually really like Goran Dragic at 5'7", one of my favorite plays in the mid-range. I now like Bam Adebayo too at 8'6". 50-plus fantasy points in back-to-back games. Again, we'll have to do a lot more offensively. I'm not super scared of undersized Pascal Siakam or Chris Boucher. I think Bam Adebayo can still have a nice game. So Bam and Dragic are the guys I'm really looking to. And then Kendrick Nunn for value. Actually propels him to be one of the better value plays in the slate. 27 played 34 minutes the last game. Now, Gabe Vincent is available. I think he did play the last game. He did, but he barely played. So it looks like Kendrick Nunn is kind of taken over for, just an increased role here with 27, 34 minutes. So I think Kendrick Nunn actually is one of the better value plays in the slate. So Miami, for me, actually one of my favorite teams to target. I really like Dragic in the mid-range. I think Kendrick Nunn's a really solid value play. And then I like Bam at the top. On the Toronto side, you guys know my feelings in the top three guys. They're always solid plays. Now in a 9-game slate, am I going to prioritize these guys? No, I'm not. I think they're fine plays, not priorities to me. The guy I'm looking to, again, is Chris Boucher. Because he's playing about 30 minutes a game. He's had 48 and 46 fantasy points, two of the last three games. So I still like Chris Boucher a good amount in both formats. OG Anunoby, 5'9". Fine play. Has had over 30 in the last 4 games. So, yeah, he's okay. But that's it. I'm not going to get to any of the value on Toronto. Moving on to Orlando and Minnesota. So this is one of my favorite games to target. I know he's going to be chalk, but really hard for me to get away from Nikola Vucevic tonight against Minnesota with no Karl-Anthony Towns. So I'm not worried about the foul trouble. Should play mid-30s minutes. Has played 36 in competitive games. Really like Vooch here. And I really like Aaron Gordon too. Even with Fournier back, it doesn't worry me a ton. These two have a ton of upside in this match against Minnesota. Both should play big minutes. So really like Aaron Gordon and Vooch tonight. You guys know my rule. Do not play Terrence Ross. Cole Anthony with Fournier back might take a slight hit. You can go to him in GPPs. He's hit 40 once. I do like the matchup, but he's just been up and down, so hard to trust in cash. Now, Fournier himself at 5'2", with the back injury. I assume they kind of limit him. And he's just another guy I just don't play. Very reliant in scoring as well. So probably not going to do it. And that kind of takes like the other like fringe guys that I hate playing, like Ennis, Clark, Dwayne Bacon, completely out of play. Ken Burch is the last guy I'll mention. I mean, do the Mets go down with Fournier back? Maybe he loses a couple, but he's still been making some decent run. 33, 25, 25 last 3 games. It's a good matchup, so I think he's actually in play for value here. Let's move on to Minnesota. So Minnesota, no Karl-Anthony Towns. I actually like D'Lo a good amount for GPPs. I think he flies under the radar a good amount, but yeah, I like his upside. Should play mid-30s minutes. Offense is going to be run through him. Orlando hasn't been great defensively this year, so I actually do like D'Lo quite a bit for GPPs, and I also like Malik Beasley for GPPs. With no Karl-Anthony Towns, we know where the production is coming from, right? It's not a secret. It's Malik Beasley and it's D'Angelo Russell. I like them both for GPPs. Other options here. Jared Vanderbilt, if he starts the 4 again, I think we probably get mid-20s minutes. He's been a decent point per minute guy. He had 30 fantasy points in basically 30 minutes. I actually think he would be a pretty solid value play if he starts at the 4. So, yeah, I do have some interest in Vanderbilt. Naz Reid and Ed Davis. And Naz Reid is a good point per minute guy. I am a little bit worried about foul trouble concerns going up against Vooch. So that is a worry. But I think you can go to him in GPPs. Ed Davis at 3-3 probably plays about 15 minutes. They could start him. Even if they do start him, I don't think he plays a ton. But, yeah, you could punt with him, I guess. And then Anthony Edwards did play 30 minutes the last game. I mean, he hasn't really had a great season thus far. He's had 30 fantasy points once this season. Minutes been a little up and down, but should get some run. Shot the ball 16 times. I think he's an okay value play here. Culver, Okogie just didn't play a ton. Okogie only played 22 minutes. Culver only 20 or 19. So it's like, I don't know if I feel comfortable going there. And that wraps it up for Minnesota. So, all right, guys, 3 more games here. Let's do it. What's going on, Evan? Appreciate that, man. Thank you. All right, Phoenix and Houston. So, on the Phoenix side, Booker, Chris Paul, Ayton really haven't flashed much upside this season. They've just kind of been like, hovering around the 30, 40 fantasy point mark. Booker's hit 40 a couple times. I think this is a game we could see a Devin Booker upside game finally. I don't think he's a cash play, but minutes have been solid for him. 38, 36, 33, 35. I think he's definitely in play for GPPs. We could finally maybe we see a 50 fantasy point game from Devin Booker. I think this could be it. I really do like the matchup for him. Chris Paul at 7-2, maybe a little safer. Probably doesn't have much upside, but he's had 30 plus fantasy points the last 4 games. He's basically gotten 30 every single game, besides he had 24, 27 here. But he's been pretty consistent. Now, does he have huge upside? I don't know. I don't know if he has huge upside at this point of his career, but it is a revenge spot. It's a solid matchup, so I think he's fine. DeAndre Ayton intrigues me for GBPs. Which DeAndre Ayton are we going to get here, right? Are we going to get the DeAndre Ayton who gets absolutely abused by Robin Lopez? Or are we going to get the DeAndre Ayton that goes for almost 50 fantasy points against Memphis? I don't know. He's been up and down. He has been up and down. We've seen 40 fantasy points from him twice this season. But again, I really do like the spot here. I love targeting players against this Rockets team. So Ayton and Booker are guys that I am considering for GPPs tonight. Bridges a little pricey for me. Crowder's fine. I think Cam Johnson is actually a pretty solid value play here. Minutes have been a little inconsistent, but like I said, there's not, with no more Xavier Tillman, there's not a ton of standout value. He's had over 20 fantasy points in 4 of the last 5 games. He's below 4K, and it is a good matchup. So if we get the low end of the minutes, if we get 20 minutes out of Cam Johnson, maybe he can still get us 20 fantasy points. If we get the high end, if he plays high 20s minutes, then he could have a really nice day. So I think Cam Johnson is definitely someone I'm looking to for value. And that's really it for me on Phoenix. Let's move on to Houston. So Houston, Christian Wood at 8-4. Again, I'm still a little bit tilted that last game. Can you just play more minutes? 31 minutes for Christian Wood? Really? Give him... if he gets 35-36 there, I could have had a takedown that other night because I had that full game stack. But yeah, in 31 minutes, he absolutely smashed. I mean, he's really good point per minute guy. I do like the matchup for him, too. You could realistically game stack this if you want to and go DeAndre Ayton, Christian Wood, play both centers together. Again, both are good offensive players. Neither are good defenders. So I think he's still viable here for GPPs. The reason I think he's only a GPP play is because only 31 minutes. Now, minutes could go back up to like 35, 36. If he was playing 36 minutes a game here, then he would be like a safer play. 31 minutes, I think, makes him just a GPP play. Now, Victor Oladipo at 7-8, I think flies under the radar here. I do. I don't think he's going to be super popular. Phoenix, guard-wise, have actually been solid defensively, but this is not the same Victor Oladipo on the Pacers, right? And people didn't take that into account last slate. I told you guys how much I loved Oladipo. He came in like 20% owned, 54 fantasy points. The reason I like him so much is he's running the point with no John Wall. So it's point Oladipo. He had 9 assists last game. Again, he was not a point guard, obviously, for the Pacers. He was more of a wing. He is running the point here for Houston when John Wall's out. So that boosts the appeal of Victor Oladipo. He is one of those guys in the 7 to 8K range that I like a good amount. And then Eric Gordon's the last guy I'll mention here at 5.5, reliant on the scoring, right? Not going to do a ton else besides score the ball, but he should get shot attempts up. He will be the number 3 in this offense, and he did play 34 minutes. So Eric Gordon firmly in play there at that price. If I had to pick one value play on here, it would be Jayshawn Tate. He played 30 minutes last game, but Sterling Brown now back. That's another body of this rotation, so don't love it. And I'm not playing PJ Tucker. I'm not playing any of these other guys. No, thank you. Okay, 2 games left. DeMar DeRozan at 8.5K. He's been the most consistent player for the Spurs. So if I had to pick one, it would be DeMar DeRozan. Do like the matchup for him. Should play mid-30s minutes. Does have a somewhat high floor with rebounds and assist. DeMar is the guy I do like. Now, the rest of the Spurs, I don't like this team right now because everyone is up and down. DeJounte Murray, Keldon Johnson, both have very low floors. They also have somewhat high ceilings. So they're fine for GPPs. LaMarcus Aldridge, not playing a ton of minutes. 17 there against Houston, only 24 in a blowout against Portland, but probably was only on pace for about 30. So, if we're only going to get 30 minutes of LaMarcus Aldridge, it just makes him a little riskier. If he was playing, if I knew he was going to play 35 minutes tonight, he would actually be one of the better plays in this range. But right now, it just doesn't look like the minutes are there for him, which makes him a little riskier. Lonnie Walker, Patty Mills, secondary plays at their respective prices. Rudy Gay, minutes up and down. He's a good point per minute guy, but might only play 15 minutes. So, again, you can go to him in GPPs. Pirtle, the one game he got extended because he played really well. This game was a blowout. I think, normally he's only going to play about 15 minutes. So, yes, you can consider him for value, but don't expect more than 15-ish minutes unless we get some foul trouble or something crazy there. And then Vassell's last guy, 3.8K, has been getting 20 to 25 minutes. Yes, he's viable for value. Just be careful, right? Just be careful if you're new to DFS and you're looking at this and you're like, oh, there's not a lot of great value plays. Devin Vassell, I think he looks pretty good, right? I'm just warning you, if you haven't been popped yet, you are going to multiple times throughout your DFS career. You will get popped, right? Something will happen. I would not be surprised if Vassell just plays 10 minutes tonight and then you got popped. So just be careful. I'm just warning you if you knew, right? You will get popped multiple times. Could be a scenario there where Vassell looking like a decent value play and then comes out and maybe gets a DNP, right? I would not be shocked. I wouldn't. All right, let's move on to Golden State. So Golden State, actually we do have some decent news here. Wiggins is a guy I never play, but if he is out, we could get some pretty decent value here. Would assume it's Bazemore Lee that starts for him. So if he's out, and I would like whoever starts for him a good amount for value. So got to keep an eye on that. Steph Curry, always in play for GPPs. It's a good matchup. He's going to go under on the slate, but he's got 60-plus fantasy point upside. So he's literally in play for GPPs every single night. Oubre finally had a good game. Literally finally. 37 fantasy points in 37 minutes. If Wiggins is out, that would make me feel a little bit more comfortable at Oubre. And then I do like Draymond Green at 5.4. In this 5K range, I think he's one of the better options. Should play about 30 minutes, can stuff the stat sheet. We got the vintage Draymond Green stat line last game, 7, 8, and 9. That's what Draymond Green does. So as long as he stays out of foul trouble, should play about 30-ish minutes. I think Draymond's a nice play at that price point. And then I will mention James Wiseman. Told you guys I was not comfortable playing him last slate because of foul trouble risk against Anthony Davis. What happened? Got in foul trouble. So if he can stay out of foul trouble, I think we do get mid-20s minutes. He played 26 and 27 the previous 2 games. I do like the spot for him against like an undersized Aldridge. So, I could see Wiseman being a decent play here. It is a little bit of risk with his foul issues, though. And then, Bazemore, Lee would only be viable, in my opinion, if Wiggins is out. Let's finish up with the Kings and the Clippers. So, Kings, Fox, I'm a huge De'Aaron Fox fan, but at 9K against the Clippers, secondary play. Not playing Buddy Hield. Rashawn Holmes did play over 40 minutes last game. You can go to him in GPPs, but just know the foul. Again, another guy that is always in foul trouble, so you got to factor that in. We're getting back to the Harrison Barnes I know and love. This is what I'm talking about, right? I'm happy. 35 minutes, 23 fantasy points, 41 minutes, 14 fantasy points. I was losing my mind. I was like, what? Like, Harrison Barnes is now a good player? No. Harrison Barnes is not a good player. He's just a low usage guy. We're getting back to the old Harrison Barnes. So no, I'm not paying Harrison Barnes that price. Marvin Bagley is the one guy that does intrigue me just because of minutes. 31 and 36. They've been all over the place for him. So it's like, I have no idea how many minutes he's going to play. If he does play over 30, I think there's a decent chance he can get you there. But last 3 games, 23, 19, then 31, then 36. So it's like, I don't know. So yeah, you can go to him in GPPs. Whiteside being out doesn't do a ton even if he is out. And that's really it. That's it for me for let's see. Miles Turner's out. Okay. Yeah. We'll come back to that one. Makes Sabonis, in my opinion, a better play at the top. Finally, we got the Clippers. So Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. I actually do like both a good amount here. Fantastic matchup. I'm just a little bit worried this game doesn't stay competitive. If it does, you could see a big game here from Kawhi and Paul George. So I do like them a good amount there. And I'm a little bit worried about blowout concerns. Ibaka with Zubac back, I'll pass. Or Zubac with Ibaka back, I'll pass. Pat Beverly, fine play. Marcus Morris, a 4-7, did play 27 minutes the last game. I think we get about mid-20s minutes. Again, a good spot here. So I think he's a viable, cheap play. But everyone else is kind of just, you can punt with Zubac. He probably gets 15-ish minutes to 20. But there's not a ton of like the value that really stands out for me. It's the 2 guys at the top with Kawhi and Paul George. All right, let's refresh this one more time here, and then let's get to some questions. So Miles Turner ruled out. Gabe Vincent available, or Jakar Sampson available to play. So we'll see what the Pacers do with the starting lineup now. Curious to see what they do. So with no Miles Turner, they could start McDermott again. I think he would be a viable GPP play. But I'm just warning you, be careful. He shot 9 of 12 last game, so he went for 28 fantasy points. He's not going to do a ton else besides score the ball. So be careful here, right? If you play him, you got to know he's got a single-digit fantasy point floor. Justin Holiday probably becomes a little bit more viable. Again, low usage guy, but I think he would be okay. Again, with Turner out, we still don't know the minutes, if there's going to be a minutes limit on Jeremy Lamb. If there's not, I actually think he's a solid value play. So that's something to keep an eye on. So yeah, maybe like Holiday, Doug McDermott become a little bit more viable. Jakar Sampson too is available to play. He's at 3-4. Maybe there's an outside chance to start him. Like if he starts at the 4, you could look to him for value. So just curious to see what they do with the starting lineup. But yeah, a couple guys that I think are in play now with Miles Turner out. Nothing that like really stands out as like great value. Like, I really want to play Jakar Sampson. No, or I really want to play Doug McDermott. Not really, right? I think there's guys that are more viable now, but still nothing that's like really popping out to me. But yeah, that's it, guys. So let's get some questions. We are almost at 500 viewers, 67 likes. I'll stay on for a good 10 more minutes to get to questions. Can we get to 100 likes? Would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Embiid or Sabonis? So for me, it's Sabonis. Goga, no. So like Goga barely played that last game. Where's Goga bit say? He's at 3-5. He had like I think 4 minutes in the regular game and then kind of close it out in the blowout. So not super interested there. I mean, if he starts, then yeah, but I don't think they're going to start him. Yeah, I don't think they're going to start him. Harrison Barnes fraud. Rank these plays: Vassell, Nunn, Brunson, and Sampson. I think Nunn is the guy that stands out. Dragic, Nunn, Jackson, Green, Vucevic, Aaron Gordon, Boucher, and Grant. Yeah, I think that's good. From the first 3 games, Brooklyn, Cleveland, no. Dallas and the Pacers, yeah. You got Luke at the top. You got Porzingis in the mid-range. A couple of value guys like James Johnson and Jalen Brunson if he starts. On the Pacers side, we have Sabonis, Brogdon are safer plays. Sabonis gets a slight boost with no Miles Turner out, and then possibly some value guys depending on the starting lineup. Boston, Philly don't really like a ton, so really it's just in that Dallas game. Curry, Beasley, Tate, Johnson, Vooch, Depot, Sumner, Wiseman. So like Edmund, Sumner with Jeremy Lamb back, I'm not as excited about it. Yeah, I'd rather have Sabonis than Embiid. Hield, Smart, or Holmes? I mean, I think it's Holmes for me. If he stays out of foul trouble, he should play big minutes. Capella or Porzingis? That's a good question. That's a really good question. I don't have a super strong take there. I think Capella might be a little bit more popular, so give me Porzingis in GPPs. Yeah, I think you can play both Nunn and Dragic. Yeah. Yeah, Anthony Edwards is okay. Again, okay. Your thoughts on Vanderbilt? If Jarrett Vanderbilt starts at the 4, I think he's solid. Yeah. Am I prioritizing Doncic? I think you could. I'm still kind of messing with builds. You can go a little bit more balanced, or you can go, maybe get up to Luka and then, a couple more guys in the mid range. Yeah, I don't have a super strong take there. I think Luka is obviously one of the best spend ups if you can get to him. Dragic, Nunn, Cam Johnson, James Johnson, Vanderbilt, Luka, Grant, Vucevic. Yeah, so like that's kind of the build that you'd be forced on if you play Luka, right? You got to play like 4 value guys. I think that's solid. I think it is. Yeah, and then you got your 3 spend ups in Luka, Grant, Vooch. Pascal. I mean, he is somewhat cheap. I guess you can play Pascal. I mean, I just never feel good about these value plays. So like, we're not going to get more than like 20 minutes out of Pascal. The one game when I play him, when he starts in a great spot, completely bust. But now he's actually turning into a good player. Like, all right, dude. No, I mean, yeah, he's, yes, in play. I don't love it. Blake Griffin or Bagley, like, I would rather take the shot in Bagley and hope he gets some minutes. No, I do like Boucher. I think Boucher is one of the better plays in that 7 to 8K range. Again, I told you guys about 8 to 10 guys. Boucher is one of them. Aaron Gordon is also one of them. I like them both a lot. Fox, Dragic, D'Lo, Paul George, Eric Gordon, Salmon, KP. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit risky with Fox there. Is Vucevic at 9,900 too much? I would say that's probably right. Maybe, no, I'd say it's probably right for this matchup. So definitely prefer him to DraftKings. Fox or Herder at 55. Yeah, Herder at 55 is way more viable. Sumner, good value since Brogdon's not out, unless something crazy just happened. Yeah, Brogdon is in. So that would be hashtag fake news. Yep, I think you can do that. You can play Sabonis and Doncic together. I don't know. I would assume so since he started last game, Brunson, but we'll see. Yep, I think you can play Nunn and Dragic together. Vanderbilt or McDermott. I think the floor is a little bit higher in Vanderbilt. So, like, for me, I'd rather play guys like that than are very reliant on the scoring. But that's just personal preference. You can play McDermott. He has to hit his shots. I think Nunn's a pretty solid play with no hero. I mean, minutes for him, I think we get at least mid-20s. Vooch greater than Bam. I like them both. It's a close call there. Draymond or Eric Gordon. So it depends what you're playing. I think Draymond has a little bit of a higher floor. Eric Gordon, if he can get it going shooting, he probably has a little bit of a higher ceiling. So like Gordon probably for GPPs, Draymond for cash. I mean, you can still go Draymond GPPs. I think Draymond's a little bit of a safer play. 5K for utility. Let's see. 5K in utility. Yeah, there's not a lot I really like in this range. I would say, Vanderbilt if he starts again at the 4 because he played 29 minutes and he's, again, decent point per minute guy. So, like, Vanderbilt if he starts. If he doesn't start, I don't want to go there at that price. I mean, you can look to McDermott maybe if he starts, but very reliant on scoring. Like Marcus Morris is like an okay play, and then you get down to like Wiseman, who I think is viable as well. So nothing really stands out to me below 5K in like that range. Yeah, Boucher or Siakam, for me, I would still rather take the discount of Boucher. I think that's fine, Oubre. Boucher or Kristaps? So that's a tough question. I really like both tonight. I'll go Kristaps there, but yeah. D'Lo or Vooch? I have no idea why he's that priced. I think Draymond's a solid play. D'Lo or Vooch? Edwards or McDermott? Don't love either. Don't love either. Edwards minutes up and down. McDermott reliant in the scoring. If McDermott starts, again, he's viable, but I don't feel comfortable with either. Yes, none's in play. Trey Nunn, Cam Johnson, Sabonis, Vooch, Brunson, Solomon Hill, and Ayton. I think that's a solid GPP lineup. Again, I would only play Solomon Hill if he starts. Yeah, Ayton's in a good spot here. Like, Ayton's tempting in GPPs, to be honest. Dragic, Oladipo, McDermott, Cam Johnson, Vooch, Booker, Hardaway, and Wiseman. Hardaway's just a guy I don't play because he's very reliant on the scoring. Everything else is fine. And McDermott also reliant on the scoring. So, like, it depends if those guys hit their shots or not. I would rather play Solomon Hill than Tony Snell. But I guess if Tony Snell starts, he would be a little bit more viable. Yes. They're both out. Okay. Doncic or Steph? So I think Doncic for cash. I think it's got to be Luka for cash. I do have some interesting stuff, though. Like, Steph's going to be low on this slate. He is. So, like, 5% Steph Curry in GPPs. Yeah. Bev or D-Rose? I'd rather have D-Rose. 5.7K forward, Draymond. Oubre or Green? I'd rather have Draymond. I just think he has a little bit of a higher floor. Oladipo and Vanderbilt if he starts, or Chris Paul and Draymond. I think the upside's a little bit higher in the first one. I think Oladipo is much higher upside, much higher ceiling than Chris Paul right now. And Vanderbilt would kind of be a similar play to Draymond, right? He's a guy that stuffs the stat sheet and gets you some blocks and steals. Not obviously as good as Draymond at right now, but like if he starts and plays like close to 30 minutes, I think he would be a decent play. Any good options under 4K? Yeah, there's a few. There's a few. Nothing I'm like super confident in. Again, Tillman was the guy I really liked, but he's out. So like, yeah, you got Kendrick Nunn at 4K. You got Cam Johnson at 3.9. Jeremy Lamb, if he's not going to be in a minutes limit. Vassell's at 3.8. Trying to see what else. Maybe one of those Golden State guys if, Lee or Bazemore, if Wiggins is out. I think that's really where I'm looking. Yeah, I think you can play them both together, Vooch and Aaron Gordon. All right, guys, couple more minutes here. What's the most you've ever cashed? What do you mean, like most I've ever won? It was about $5,000 on one slate. Porzingis or Jeremy Grant against Atlanta? Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. I like them both a good amount. Jeremy Grant's in the better matchup, but I think Porzingis is low owned because we haven't really seen the huge game from him yet, but I think it could be tonight. So it's like that's a tough call. Grant's going to be more popular, so maybe you go Grant. But again, I do like Porzingis a good amount there for GPPs. Oladipo or Porzingis? Again, tough call there. Really tough call because we got Point Oladipo, who I think goes low owned. I also don't think Porzingis is going to be that high owned. Right? Porzingis was on pace for over 35 minutes. There is no Miles Turner, which I think actually is a boost to a guy like Porzingis. I kind of like the upside. That's a close one though. Again, I am a big fan of Oladipo tonight too. Goodwin or Snell for punt. So I don't know if Goodwin's role would really change, right? If like Trae Young or like Herter was out, then he would play more. But I think it's going to be those wings like Snell and Solomon Hill. Lowry, secondary play. Shake Milton, fine. Luka, let's see. Luka and Dragic or Brogdon and Depot. I think I'd have Luka and Dragic. Nunn or Brunson? Depends on the Dallas starting lineup. If Brunson starts, then it's basically close. If Brunson does not start, I'd go Nunn. Favorite center under 6K. All right, a couple more questions, guys. Then, again, I do have to get out of here. Favorite center in 6K under. Draymond Green. Capella or Boucher? Also a good question. Don't have a super strong take. I'll go Capella, but I do like both. I don't know. I don't think Trey is going to be that high owned. I do like Trey, though. I do. Oladipo or Grant? Again, tough call there. Like a lot of those guys are very close in the 7 to 8K range for me. I think Grant's going to be more popular. I prefer the matchup for Grant, so I guess Grant. But again, I do like Point Oladipo a lot. Cole Anthony or Pat Bev? For me, I'd rather take the shot on Cole Anthony and hope he has like a ceiling game. How many minutes do you think D Rose gets? I would say about 25. About 25. Edwards or Powell? I guess Edwards, don't love either. Yeah, I think depends on the starting lineup, but I would assume it's Solomon Hill. No, I wouldn't play none at 5,500. Would not play him at 5,500. That's what I was, joking about yesterday was we had point guard Aaron Gordon and Kevin Huerter for 9,500. Vooch or Capella, Vooch. Oubre, Gordon, or Draymond. Depends what you're playing. Gordon's got the highest ceiling if he's hitting shots. Draymond probably has the highest floor. Brandon Goodwin for value. See, I don't know if his role changes a ton. I mean, he might play a little bit more, but he's like a backup like guard. So he is a decent point per minute guy. You could go there. I'm just not convinced he plays more minutes. I think it would be those wings, even though I don't really want to play them, like guys like Solomon Hill, Tony Snell. We'll see. Who knows? Bagley or Shake? I mean, with everyone now healthy basically for Philly, Shake's like a solid play. Bagley is, I think Shake is probably a little bit safer because Bagley and the Mets are way up and down. Bam or Sabonis? Sabonis. No. Grant or Gordon? And that's flip a coin. Both are in fantastic matchups. Both should play big minutes. I guess Gordon, but yeah, Justin Howard. Do we have the Pacers starting lineup news? Let's refresh this, and then I do, and I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Any more news? Cam Reddish out, Hunter out. That is it. So yeah, just keep an eye on that Pacers starting lineup news, guys. A couple guys are more viable, but nothing I really, really love. Again, just kind of solidifies Sabonis as a safe play. Brogdon's safe too. But I do have to get out of here, so I appreciate everyone coming to check the live stream. Good luck tonight, guys, and I'll see everyone